The Volkswagen Tiguan. It's the compact SUV that's been with us for about 15 years. Today we're going to have a little look round the second generation and find out what goes wrong. So there's a number of different engines available with this car, as with most of the Volkswagen brands. We've got the 1.4, 1.5, 1.8 2-litre petrol engines. We've also got the 1.6 and the 2-litre diesel. With regards to common issues, so it's pretty much the same across the brands. We've spoken about them before. With petrol, they're quite common for coil packs and spark plugs failing. We have issues with the oil-fed chain tensioners on the petrol engines as well. Obviously this can cause quite serious issues. With the diesels, again, we have the issues with the EGR cooler, the EGR itself. So one thing you do need to watch out for, especially on these newer ones, with the common rail 2-litre diesel engine in, and the 1.6 common rail diesel engine, they started fitting coolant bottles with silica gel bags in them. Now this is to help prolong the life of the coolant, which is better for the environment. Unfortunately, those silica gel bags have a nasty habit of splitting, and when this happens, the silica gel is distributed amongst the cooling system in the vehicle, and when it gets to the smallest points, it does start to block up. Now in particular, we're talking about the water pump, which is an electronically controlled water pump on these, and then it disappears off into the cooler matrix, which we shall discuss in a little while. So transmission, we've discussed it in other videos. You've got the 6-speed manual, you've got the DSG gearbox. What you need to watch out for with both of those is maintenance. Make sure you get your oil changes done regularly. Noises from your flywheel, make sure you get those sorted to prevent further damage to any other parts of the transmission. One thing to bear in mind with these, they're available in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. So when you've got the 4-wheel drive version, you've also got the transfer box, the prop shaft, hell decks, and then obviously your rear drive. That also needs to be serviced regularly. So both the transmission and your hell decks both need to be serviced every 40,000 miles. The hell decks in particular, so it hasn't got a filter like the previous versions of it. As such, there is actually a gauze in there which acts as a filter. This traps a lot of debris. Now, it's not part of the service to actually have these cleaned, but we strongly recommend it. So if you take it to a reputable garage, they will actually take out that gauze, they will give it a clean. In some cases, you can actually replace it, and this will keep your hell decks, your whole transmission system working properly as it should do. While we're on the subject of the hell decks system on this, so basically the 4-wheel drive, the hell decks is responsible for switching it on and off. So for the most part, you're driving around in a 2-wheel drive vehicle, hell deck switches in, you get 4-wheel drive when you need it. Very important note, tyres. So there's an overcomplicated way of making sure that all the tyres are correct for the vehicle. So if you're replacing 4 tyres at a time, nothing to worry about. When you start replacing 2 tyres, so let's say for example the tyres on your front axle have worn down quicker than the rear, when you replace those tyres, brand new tyres, 8mm worth of tread, you move to your back tyres. Now let's just say they're half worn, so you've got 4mm on them. The hell deck system will try to over calculate the wheel speed. Now this can cause issues, drive concerns, knocking noises. It can cause your traction control light to come on, it can cause your 4-wheel drive light to come on, and it can do damage throughout the transmission system. So just bear in mind, if you need tyres with the hell decks, you're probably better off changing all 4 at the same time. So we spoke a little bit earlier about the silica gel, which gets into the coolant system, and I did mention that it goes into the interior cooling, the heater matrix, and it will actually block it up. So exactly the same as your radiator at home, you get a bit of rust or a bit of debris through the system, and it will cause failure or partial failure of that heater matrix. Now you don't want a cold car on a cold day. Now this particular one, this is the Allspace. Long wheelbase. It's got the extra seats in the back. It's also got the extra heating. So you do not want your heating system blocked up. So when you have your cam belt done, if you're having any kind of problems with your cooling system, you want to get your coolant bottle changed at the same time. The latest versions of the bottle, they no longer come with that silica gel. They've realised it's a bit of an issue, so they've now deleted that from the from most of the range. So if you replace the bottle, you'll eliminate that problem altogether. Right, so next we're going to talk ADAS, Advanced Driver Adaption Systems. We're going to be brief because I don't want to get wet. So ADAS is a number of different systems fitted to most modern vehicles. This can include auto braking, adaptive cruise control that determines the speed of your vehicle compared to the vehicle in front. It also includes things like blind spot elimination, reversing cameras, lane change assist, all those kind of functions. One thing to watch out for, there's a lot of sensors involved in these. A dirty car is not ADAS's friend. So before you start getting your vehicle in because you've got an ADAS fault or your adaptive cruise control isn't working, just have a quick look around the front of the vehicle. Just make sure all of your sensors are nice and clean. In particular, most of the manufacturers are putting them behind the badge, or you'll see like a square radar or a little camera mounted somewhere in the middle of the vehicle. Some of them as well are also fitted up in the top of the windscreen, so a dirty windscreen is also going to cause you a few issues. Continuing on the theme of safety systems, airbag warning lights. So a couple of issues that we've come across on these particular models. We've spoken about them before, the clock spring or the steering wheel connection. These tend to break inside. They can cause problems such as your horn not working, steering wheel buttons, but one of the most common ones and an MOT failure is your airbag warning light coming on. The other thing you tend to find with a vehicle of this kind, they're quite clearly designed for carrying passengers. You pile the kids in the back, you've got the dog running around in the rear. Little feet, they get underneath the front seat, they kick the connectors, they kick the wires, and before you know it, either your electric seat doesn't work, the heating no longer warms up your backside, or the airbag warning light will come on. It's a nice simple case of just tucking the wires back up, making sure the connectors are on, and then turning the light off. Other things, particularly on the earlier versions, again, we've had problems with the fuel cap not releasing. Or in some cases on these particular models not shutting, so the little catch pops out and then you just can't get the thing back in. And again, with most of these new cars now, they cram them with all sorts of electrical toys, things to keep your passengers occupied, things to keep you busy while you're trying to drive. Electric tailgates. This particular model is fitted with the auto tailgate, so it'll close on its own, it'll open on its own with a wave of your foot. And again, a lot of it, got to make sure your sensors are clean, make sure there's nothing trapped, nothing in the way. So, the inside of these, apart from being quite spacious, they are literally a button presser's paradise. Everywhere you look, we've got touch screens, we've got buttons, we've got heated this, we've got electric that. Everything lights up, you can change the colour of the interior. It's all brilliant until it all goes wrong. What we find with most of these cars now, there are software updates after software updates after software updates. We do come across the occasional broken switch, especially in the centre console, with all your little cubby holes and cup holders. They get used, they get abused, they get broke, but they can be replaced. So it's never the end of the world. Right, so the Volkswagen Tiguan. It's a lot of car for the money, there's a lot of gadgets, there's a lot of things going on, there's a couple of problems, but nothing that can't be sorted. So don't forget to check in next time when we do another video, exactly the same as this one. So guys, don't forget to press those buttons, the like, share and subscribe, and we will see you next time.